Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praises belong to Allah, Lord of all the worlds. I bear witness that Allah is alone without any partners and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his final and last messenger. And I bear witness that whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, no one can lead him astray. And whoever he leads astray, then there's absolutely no one that can guide him. The first qa'idah for the continuation of our WhatsApp reminders, titled Revising the Lost Protocols of Salafiyyah as Principles and Guidelines. The first qa'idah, the first rule, and this is the most important rule for you and I to understand, and this continues throughout the book. He says, the religion is built on two fundamental principles: sincerity and doing acts the way that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam legislated. Now he mentioned, as a reference point for sincerity, he mentioned 3 ayat. I'm going to give you the reference points for those 2 ayats, the surahs and the numbers of those verses, so that you can go back in your free time and familiarize yourself with the evidences that the Shaykh Hafidhullah Ta'ala used. The first one is in Surah An-Nisa, verse number 125, and the second one is in Surah Al-Bayyinah, verse number 5. The third one is in Surah Az-Zumar, number 11, where he said, "Say that I have been ordered to worship Allah, sincerely establishing for him the religion." That's 3 ayat that he used. The next point of reference he used to establish this principle is a hadith well known of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that verily actions are measured by intentions, collected by Bukhari and Muslim. In regards to following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, doing actions that he has legislated, then that's well known in the hadith of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, where she said that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fahuwa rad," that whoever does an act which isn't in conformity to what our legislation has legislated, then it will be rejected. Okay? It will be rejected. And this hadith is collected in Bukhari and Muslim. The third point of reference he used to help us understand ikhlas, sincerity, and doing things in conformity to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has legislated is an athar on Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad, rahimahullah. Fudayl, he said, perfect your actions by doing them sincerely and correctly. It was said to him, what is sincerity, and what is correctly? He says sincerity is that it is done for Allah, and correctly is that it is done in accordance to the Sunnah. And this athar is mentioned in Tafsir al-Baghawi, volume number 8, 176. And Ibn Rajab, he mentioned it in his book, Jami' Ulum wal Hikmah. So here we understand that the first principle, our religion is built on 2, sincerity and doing things in conformity to what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has legislated. Now, a very important point we mentioned before we close out is you see that the Shaykh, he establishes these principles based on the Quran, then the Sunnah, then he relies on the aqwal of the Salaf. And my brothers and sisters, this is very important, that whenever you want to establish something, whenever you want to follow an act of worship, or whenever you want to present an argument, that you should always rely on the Quran first. The Quran is your first reference point. Your second reference point is the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the third reference point is going to be the speech and the statements of the scholars to help you understand that. Don't rely on your own understanding for the hadith. Don't rely on your own understanding for the Quran. Okay? And you find that this is the order of the books of the Salaf. For example, Sahih al-Bukhari, he relied on the ayat first, and then he brought the hadith, and then he mentioned the aqwal of the Salaf. Likewise, so did Imam al-Bayhaqi in his book, Kitab al-Asma wa Sifat, and many other books that the scholars, you find that they use this point of reference for the establishment of their discussion. And in fact, Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that these 3 The Quran, the Sunnah, and the Fahm of the Salaf are the three principles for the Da'iyah. These are the three principles for the Da'iyah who wants to convey his argument, who wants to convey his message. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.